engaging the community since 1970. This is WIS Awareness.
Good morning, and thank you for joining us for Awareness Today. I'm your host, Leland Pender, and we have a beautiful backdrop here in Blythewood for this morning's show. And I'm joined by Kimberly Aiken, Miss South Carolina 1993 and Miss America 1994. Kimberly, thank you for being here.
You're welcome.
We're so excited to have you on the show, and the reason you're here today, just recently, you along with many other people watched the Miss USA pageant as a South Carolina State University McCullough walked across the stage and won that competition on a national stage. And many were excited because she went to SC State in Orangeburg, and she's also, armed with her degree, went to DC to work as a government scientist. So a lot to definitely be proud of. And who better to weigh in on what that whole process might have been like than Kimberly. And so tell us, Kimberly, were you watching the pageant that night?
I did. So I competed in Miss America. Miss America is a different competition than Miss USA, but I still love to watch pageants, and I love to support the young women who have the courage to get up there and put their hearts out on the stage. So when I am able, I always watch the competition. So I did watch Miss USA that night and saw her win. And
so in those moments, when they have the two people competing for the title, take us back to your win. What are you thinking? What's going on right then?
So I won almost 24 years ago. I was an 18-year-old. I had never really done anything like this other than competing in local pageants here in Columbia. So it was a shock for me to win. It was excitement. I remember feeling tremendous pride being from Columbia, being from South Carolina. So many people from this community came and drove and flew up to New Jersey to watch me win. So I really felt like it was a hometown effort, and I was just excited to be a part of it and excited to bring home the title to our home city.
And some memories you obviously have for a lifetime.
Absolutely.
And so at that time, you were the first Miss South Carolina in 1993, and when you won Miss America in 94, just a part of a handful of black women who had won the title at that time. So on the state level and the national level, two very distinct honors and representations. What has that meant to you?
Well, I was not the first Miss South Carolina to win Miss America. There had been a Miss South Carolina win Miss America, but I think what you're alluding to is I was the first African-American Miss South Carolina.
Right.
And that meant a lot to me because after I won, I didn't really think of the fact that I was the first Miss Black South. I didn't think about the fact that I was the first black Miss South Carolina. I just thought this was a wonderful opportunity, something that I had aspired to. I set a goal and I achieved it, so I was proud of myself. It wasn't really until I got back, the pageant at that time was in Greenville, South Carolina. It wasn't until I got back here to Columbia and had my kind of homecoming and saw all of the news media and that type of thing. That was really when it dawned on me that this was a milestone. It really didn't feel like that at the time. So that just gave me, again, tremendous pride. At the time, I had 4 grandparents that were alive. They all got to see that. They grew up in the segregated South. And that was a very important accomplishment for me for a lot of reasons, but really because it was a community effort, and so many people came out of their pockets. So my grandma sold dinners at her church to help provide the wardrobe and all the things that were necessary, the coaching and voice lessons and all those things that were necessary for me to win Miss South Carolina, and then of course ultimately go on to Miss America. And being the 5th black Miss America, again, was tremendous, but at the time, it didn't feel as though that was a huge accomplishment because other people had done it before. To me, I didn't feel as though I was a trailblazer. That was Vanessa Williams.
Right.
And
she was the first.
She was the first. And woman. I remember watching her win. I was 10 years old. Here in Columbia, watching her win, and my mom and I always watched the Miss America pageant, and we happened to watch that year, and this young woman who looked like me won, and it certainly changed my perspective. It made me believe that if at some point I might want to do that, I could. Of course, I was 10, so that was not something that was even on my mind, but later when I did decide that this was something I wanted to do, seeing her win and then the previous Miss Americas, African American Miss Americas before me, definitely motivated me.
Some motivation for sure. I mean, I can't imagine. Vanessa Williams is, I mean, she's still getting talked about today, so
She
very
is.
long lasting.
And I'll tell you, to be honest, all of those former Miss Americas, no matter what their background is, the network is so tremendous and the support is so tremendous. And just about 2 years ago, I got an opportunity to be at Miss America, and I go quite a bit to the pageant. But I got an opportunity about 2 years ago to be there when the first time that Vanessa Williams she's always invited back, but it was the first time that she took the invitation and actually came back to be at the pageant. So it was wonderful to be there with her and to tell her what a motivation and you know, how much we had all looked up to her and all of the things she had done. She took adversity and she made it into something positive.
Well, with people like Vanessa Williams and Kimberly Aiken and Kara McCullough doing what they're doing and earning their respective titles, what kind of impact do they have on other young girls and women? More on that after the break.
Join in the fun at the Summertime Series at Adventure. Adventure offers cool play all day, all summer long. Saturday, June 24th, it's Feats of Engineering Day. Man of Iron will be in the museum as well as numerous engineering activities. Check out all the fun at adventure.org.
A severe thunderstorm is moving through Orangeburg right now.
Flash flood warning for downtown Columbia.
A tornado warning has been issued.
Strong winds and damaging hail as these storms move through.
When severe weather strikes, Chief Meteorologist Aminis Brown and the WIS First Alert Weather Team are there.
This is a dangerous storm right here that will push through the Midlands over the next few hours.
In every neighborhood.
Some very heavy rain
On every screen.
Next strong line of storms moving through over the next couple hours.
Letting you know first. WIS First Alert Weather.
Creative Sewing Machine Center for all your sewing needs.
It's so easy at Creative Sewing Machine Center. Come see our great selection of machines and more of everything you need for sewing, quilting, and embroidery. Let's get creative together.
During the Champion Summer of Savings sale, you can replace your old windows and pay no interest and no payments until 2019.
I love my new windows. I'm expecting a huge energy savings.
And save an extra $250 off every Champion window, all with our exclusive Comfort 365 glass and limited lifetime warranty. Just call 888-934-CHAMPION. Save $250 on every Champion window and pay no interest and payments until 2019. Hurry, this offer ends soon. Call 888-934-CHAMPION today.
Download the free WIS News 10 app. Live stream every WIS newscast. Stay safe through severe weather with the First Alert Weather Interactive Radar. Search WIS in your app store and download today. Brought to you by Columbia Metropolitan Airport.
Join in the fun at the Summertime Series at Adventure. Adventure offers cool play all day, all summer long. Saturday, June 24th, it's Feats of Engineering Day. Man of Iron will be in the museum as well as numerous engineering activities. Check out all the fun at adventure.org.
Welcome back to Awareness. I'm joined again by Kimberly Aiken, Miss South Carolina '93 and Miss America 1994. So now after you win these pageants, there's a lot of responsibility that comes along with the crown. It's not just all about being pretty, of course. So Kimberly, tell us about some of those extra responsibilities and how you were able to use those opportunities to help positively influence women and girls who looked up to you.
Well, as Miss America, my platform focus was homeless families and children. And so I spent a lot of time building homes with Habitat for Humanity, working in homeless shelters, trying to help provide the community with education on the fact that homeless people really, they're just like you and I, but they have just gotten down on their luck, and it really can happen to almost anyone. So to really help the community understand that this is not something that any of us are immune to. And that it's important to provide educational opportunities for young people so that hopefully they don't fall into some of the traps that can create homelessness. So I really spent a lot of time as Miss America doing that. And after my year as Miss America and going on and completing college, throughout college I volunteered with a lot of organizations that were focused on homelessness as well.
Is there a moment that sticks out to you when you were doing your work with homelessness, or at some point in college where maybe just one person really had a really profound impact on you? Maybe a young girl, young boy, anybody?
Well, I would say it was always children, because when I won Miss America, I was 18, and completed most of my year at 19. I was a child myself. So when I would see kids growing up in shelters, that really touched my heart, because I knew what a wonderful family that I had come from. I had 2 parents at home. I was fortunate to have a wonderful extended family. But being a kid and a teenager, you go through all kinds of things, and to have that support is so important. And so seeing many of these kids whose families loved them just as much as my family loved me, but they weren't able to care for them in the way that they needed to, and especially now that now that I'm a mother, as a mother, to have to look at your children and say, we can't go back to our home tonight, we've been evicted, we have to go to a shelter. That's heartbreaking. Yeah. And so that was always, for me, it was a motivation to really try to get the word out and try to support these organizations as best I could.
So talk to us about beauty. It can be physical and outward, obviously, but it can also be internal and sometimes even abstract. So what's your definition of beauty? What makes a person beautiful?
Well, I will say, yes, I agree. There's definitely physical traits that everyone personally is attracted to and feels that that's beautiful. But to me, beauty is humility. I love someone who is just humble, open, willing to be helpful to people, friendly, and just welcoming. And so I would say, to me, just someone who has that humility, that's always attractive to me.
When you were competing in the pageant here at home and in Atlantic City, those years, what were some of the challenges you faced, if any, and how did you conquer them?
Well, one of the things that I didn't allude to earlier, after I won Miss South Carolina, was probably the first time I ever experienced racism. Growing up here in Columbia, I only experienced love and support from all of my teachers, community, no matter what their backgrounds were. And after I won Miss South Carolina, I guess some faction of people assumed that I was taking something away from someone else. And it was hurtful, because there was an article, I think, in someone had done I think it was in the state paper, had done it was a what do you call it, opinion piece, and they said that I did not represent the values, and I still remember that all of these years later, that I didn't represent the values of the state of South Carolina. And I thought, well, my grandparents, my great-grandparents, my parents, we all grew up here. We have loved this city and this state just like anybody else. So to say that just because of the color of my skin that I didn't represent this, I could not and should not be representing the state at Miss America, it was hurtful. And I will say that that was definitely a motivation for me to go and kind of prove some people wrong. And I did. And I'm proud of that. Yeah.
Kimberly Aiken, Miss Columbia, a sophomore attending the University of South Carolina.
Well, it's not easy being put on the spot in any situation, let alone in front of the entire country. So, all the while staying poised and articulate and elegant. So how do you all make it look so easy? We'll take a look at that after the break.
WIS loves to share stories of people making a difference. People who help work to build a better community. If you know someone who should be highlighted as a community builder, nominate them at WISTV.com/builder.
Community Builder is presented in partnership with Mungo Homes.
This car accident is stressing me out. What do I do?
I've got all these bills. What do I do?
Been in a car wreck? Need your check? Don't scream. Call Aiken.
Call me now.
To get your attorney, dial all twos.
Are you missing out on life because you're putting off neck or back surgery? Call Laser Spine Institute, the leader in minimally invasive spine surgery, to learn how a less than 1-inch incision can have you up and walking within a few hours of surgery, free from chronic back pain, and with no hospital stay and no lengthy recovery. If you or a loved one have been diagnosed with spinal stenosis, bulging or herniated disc, sciatica, or other chronic conditions, call today for your no-cost MRI review.
There were times my boss would send me home because I was in excruciating pain. Going to Laser Spine Institute, I go in, I have the procedure, and walk out a changed person, good to go back to work. I can't tell you how much happier I am. It's changed my life completely.
If you've been told you might need neck or back surgery, call 1-844-980-BACK now for your no-cost MRI review.
Laser Spine Institute, a less than 1-inch incision, a lifetime of standing tall.
This is Jay. Jay bounced between satellite and cable companies for years. Then he started watching his favorite shows over the internet. Jay cut the cord, kept the modem, and bought a streaming device. Jay's only problem? He was no longer connected to Here. Here, as in the local news and weather he relies on from WIS News 10. Here wasn't on his device until now. Jay found the new free WIS app on Roku and Amazon Fire. Now Jay can cut the cord and still stay connected to Here. No one knows Here better than WIS News 10.
Welcome back to Awareness. So after Kara McCullough won her title just recently, some people were critical of some of her answers that she gave on stage to questions about current events and other issues. And of course, there was this memorable moment back in 2007 during the Miss Teen USA competition. Take a listen.
Recent polls have shown a fifth of Americans can't locate the U.S. on a world map. Why do you think this is?
I personally believe that U.S. Americans are unable to do so because some people out there in our nation don't have maps, and I believe that our education, like such as in South Africa and the Iraq, everywhere like such as, and I believe that they should, our education over here in the U.S. should help the U.S. Or should help South Africa and should help the Iraq and the Asian countries, so we will be able to build up our future.
So, I mean, a lot of people remember that moment and the immense pressure she was under. So when you're on that stage, how do you keep it calm, cool, and collected and deliver a good answer?
You know, I think it's practice. I think, you know, being prepared for all of the questions that will be thrown at you, listening to the question, but that can happen to anybody. You know, that young woman is probably very smart, very accomplished, and just in that one moment, she had a brain freeze. It happens to all of us. So, but I do think it is preparation, and it is just knowing that you will get tough questions, but you're not the only one. Everybody's getting tough questions. Don't let it unnerve you. If you need to step back and rephrase your question, do so. Don't just keep going. And I've judged several pageants, and I've given that feedback to contestants to just let them know we're all human, we all make mistakes. Even the judges that are asking the questions will make a mistake. Yeah. So take a moment, rephrase, and move on.
Take a deep breath.
Exactly.
Well, you were only 18 when you won Miss America in 1994. Vanessa Williams was 21, and I believe Kara McCullough is 25 years old. Would you, looking back, do it again at that age, or wait till you were in your 20s?
I would absolutely do it at that age. Okay. For me, it was the right time. I was interested. I think you have to do it when it's something that's of interest to you, that where you are willing to put in the work and the time. There's a lot of preparation that goes into it. And I think for the women who are older, like Kara McCullough, or you know, if you're in your 20s and late 20s, you have graduated from college, possibly even gotten your graduate degree, and in her case, working, and you don't have the amount of time that you would have when you're a younger contestant to be able to prepare. So for me, that was the right time to do it.
And so you mentioned you went to college at NYU after you won your crown and pursued other endeavors. Tell us what you've been up to since then.
So I used my Miss America, Miss South Carolina scholarship to complete my accounting degree at New York University, which was a fabulous opportunity. A girl from South Carolina moved to the big city and ride the subways and do all of those things. After that, I got married about a year after I graduated from college, well, a couple months after I graduated from college, moved to Ohio, worked for an accounting firm, started our family. We have two wonderful children who are 13 and 15 now. And I've been married for almost 19 years. And now I work in my family's company. And I'm also trying to get back out into the community here in Columbia and continue to help support causes that are passionate to me.
And tell us how you're doing that. What events are you involved with, or have you begun?
Well, today we are here at the Cobblestone Golf Club and we are in the middle of my first golf tournament. The golfers are out, and we have raised lots of money to help support the Miss South Carolina Scholarship Foundation, which is the arm that provides the scholarships for the young women that win the competition. A lot of people don't know that when they win those pageants, they're not winning money to go buy a car or clothes. They are winning scholarship winnings to go then to college and to pursue their higher learning if they've already graduated. And so those scholarships, the money has to be raised. So that's one of the reasons why we're here today, to help raise the money for those foundation scholarships, and then also to bring awareness and raise some funds for Children's Miracle Network.
And that's also very important to you because you had a health issue when you were younger and had a life-saving procedure that you would have possibly not been here, or just a very different person had you not had that procedure. So tell us about that and why children are so important to you.
Well, when I was in 6th grade, I started having headaches. Nobody really knew what was going on. They became migraines. My parents took me to, at that time it was Richland Hospital, and took me there, and they gave me wonderful care, but they weren't able to figure out what was going on. So they sent me to Duke Medical Center in North Carolina, and they were able to determine that I'd been born with a rare brain defect, which was basically causing blood to leak into my brain, which was putting pressure and giving me these headaches. And ultimately, if it had not been repaired, it would have probably taken my life. So at the end of 6th grade, I had brain surgery. And the care that I received at the hospital here and the hospital in North Carolina, and the care that my whole family received during my recovery, which was long, really, I never forgot that. And so when I became a mother myself and realized that there are lots of parents, you know, I'm fortunate my children are healthy, but there are lots of parents whose children are not. You know, they have something as simple as asthma that they're not able to treat, all the way up to cancer. And so we want to really be able to help provide the research that's necessary for children's diseases, because they're very different from adult diseases, and also the care for kids that possibly can't afford it.
All right, some final thoughts with Kimberly after the break here on Awareness.
If you purchase a new heating and cooling system from ARS Rescue Rooter, we will buy back your old one. We'll pay you up to $1,500 for your old, worn-down, inefficient system. In addition, you can have that new system for as low as $83 per month. Visit arscolumbiasc.com.
Welcome to Furniture Showcase of Orangeburg, where you're always at home.
Spring has arrived. Accent your home with Ashley Furniture sofa sets under $999 and special pricing on Serta hybrid adjustable beds. Shop Furniture Showcase of Orangeburg, where you're always at home.
We are Raycom Media.
We are Raycom Media.
Standing shoulder to shoulder, connecting our communities, going beyond, because it matters, because it means something, makes us feel something, stands for something. This is greater than just a job, more than a career. This is a calling to serve our communities, make a difference. Find your opportunity at raycommedia.com.
We are
Raycom Media. If you like to stream your favorite shows or movies, why not stream your news as well? Now you can live stream WIS News 10 right to your TV. Just search for the free WIS News 10 app on Roku and Amazon Fire, and at the press of a button, you'll see our newscasts live in real time. Or you can catch up on our most recent newscast. You'll get weather forecasts tailored for your area code and have access to our live weather radar. For your latest news and weather, stream WIS News 10 on Roku and Amazon Fire today.
Creative Sewing Machine Center for all your sewing needs.
It's so easy at Creative Sewing Machine Center. Come see our great selection of machines and more of everything you need for sewing, quilting, and embroidery. Let's get creative together.
Attention homeowners, with this extreme heat, your air conditioning system is working hard every day. If it suddenly stops, call ARS to the rescue. For a limited time, we'll waive our service call fee with any repair. That's huge savings. Visit arscolumbiasc.com.
Welcome back to Awareness. Some final thoughts with Kimberly Aiken. Again, thank you so much for being here. This has been a really great show to do, and so glad you could join us. So Kim, for young girls who want to get into the pageant world and want to do what you've done, what Kara McCullough is doing, what advice do you have for them about confidence, self-esteem, and just believing in yourself?
Well, the biggest thing I would say is be a joiner. That's first of all. So in your school, in your church, join organizations, raise your hand to step up and volunteer, take part. What you don't realize is, one, that is helping your community, but it's also helping you as far as if you want to compete in the pageant, you need to know how to speak to people that you don't know. You need to be passionate about something. The only way to be passionate about a cause is to work with various causes and to learn about them and see what really grabs your attention and grabs your heart, something that you really are going to want to work towards. I would also say, like I said earlier, just be prepared. Don't ever go into any situation, if you can help it, without having prepared. So meaning knowing who your audience will be, what is their expectation of you, from the smallest thing, either going into an interview for a local pageant. Have you read about the local politics? Do you know what's going on there locally? Who are their community leaders? Do you know what their stances are on things? This is not just to win a pageant, but this is also just to be an informed citizen. And I think that right now, and I have teenagers myself, teenagers get so much of their news from social media. Turn on the TV to an actual network. Read a magazine, read that's not an entertainment magazine. Read an old-fashioned newspaper that you flip the pages.
Yeah.
So those are the ways that I would say that young women they could be able to stand out in a pageant if they do those types of things.
So obviously, I would assume things are different now than they were back in 1994. What's one or two things that you observed from your time really active in the pageant circuit from the 90s until now?
Well, the news cycle. So when I won Miss America, Miss South Carolina, there was not this 24-hour access to everything. So teenagers could make mistakes, and their family and their community might know about it, not the whole world. Yeah. And so I think the stakes are so much higher for our kids now, and they really have to be careful and be a lot more savvy than we ever had to be.
Is that a good thing in some ways? It just makes you more right the first time, or maybe it's negative in some ways? What do you think?
You know, I think it's possibly both, because I think kids need to have the opportunity to make mistakes and learn from those mistakes, and not let those mistakes be something that has to define them forever. But at the same time, I do think that it is important for them to know that their actions, they can't erase them, you know, because the world sees them. So I do think that it probably does prepare them to be a little bit more aware of their surroundings and what's going on.
Well, once again, Kimberly, thank you so much for joining us here for Awareness, and thank you for watching this morning. Until next time, I'm Leland Pender.